Okay, there's one more concept in backups only that we'll see first. Right from SPS 7, HANA 1.0 SPS 7, there is a new option introduced by SAP called snapshot, storage snapshots. The storage snapshot can be used as an alternative for your complete data backup. Repeating that, storage snapshot can be used as an alternative for complete data backup. So the difference what you need to understand is this is done at the storage level, that is file system level. Till now, whenever we are taking a backup, we have taken a backup of the data. But here we are going to take a backup of the files directly, the file system level, storage level. It's something like on your desktop, suppose you have a file. If I ask you keep a backup of this file, what you'll do is you'll copy the file, keep it in some other place, so that by chance anything goes wrong with this particular file, you can copy the file back to this location. Exactly same thing you'll be doing in the case of storage snapshot also. The problem is if you directly go to the operating system level and you take a copy of this data volume is here. You know the default path, the slash HANA slash data slash SID. Here we have this files for your data volumes. So you need to take a copy of this. But if you simply do it at the file system level, your database doesn't know that. So that's why there is a procedure given to you which we need to follow here. It's not just blindly copying this folder. There's a procedure which you need to follow. Just follow these steps so that will be recorded in your backup catalog of your database. So to do that, go to HANA Studio. You right click on the database. Go to backup and recovery. Click on this manage storage snapshot. So the very first step you need to do is preparing the database for storage snapshot. Before preparing this database for storage snapshot, observe these files here in the data volume. Observe this MNT001 and under that see this first file HDB001. So let me refresh and look at these files you have there. See how many files you have there. You have actually two files. One is landscape ID file, and another one is data volume file. .dat file. This is just only information they are giving to you. So let us see, once you prepare this database for snapshot, what happens. So when you are preparing snapshot, database for snapshot, you can give any comments here optionally. Not compulsory, just optional. Okay, and here you will get a message saying the database is now prepared for a storage snapshot. So it's prepared for storage snapshot means what? What exactly it has done? See here. If I refresh this folder, you'll find one more additional file created here. This is called snapshot file. So this snapshot file will be consisting of all the details about your data volume of this database. So which includes your file details, directory paths, file sizes, timestamps, everything will be there in this. Okay, now once that is done, now at this point you need to take a copy of this entire data volume. This total MNT001 folder you need to take a copy. And you keep it wherever you want, like wherever the backup location is, that there you can store it. I'm just keeping it in on my desktop there in one of the folder, the local system. So that can be anywhere, wherever your backup location is. So this you just compare with your like file backup. If you want to keep a backup of a file, what you do exactly the same thing here. You're doing. You copy the file, keep it outside, and tomorrow something goes wrong with this file, and you can copy that file back to this location. It's as simple as that. But as that should be recorded in your database, that's why we are doing the preparation activities. And once this copying is completed successfully, then we'll start confirming it. And this copying time depends on how much data we have, and moreover the network speeds also matters here. Network speed definitely matters. Again and again I'm telling you, uh, actually snapshot is a alternative for your complete data backup. If you take a complete data backup where you're copying the data, here you're copying the files, that you differentiate. Ultimately files are having the data, but you're copying the files here. You're doing it at file system level. So let that copy complete, will confirm it. In this point also, you remember, after you have created a snapshot, you can confirm it or abandon that. At this point of time, you should not take any backups. Another 2 more minutes. See, the copying is completed. So once the copying is completed, again click on this manage storage snapshot. Now you need to confirm or abandon. Abandon means cancelling. But you want to confirm it, but when you're confirming, as we don't have any concept of prefixes here, so you need to use or you need to specify something called external backup ID, EBID we call it as. That will allow you to identify your snapshots and choose the snapshots more easily at the time of doing recovery. So specify any EBID. Example, I'm giving snap2. Okay. And you can see that your snapshot completed. This is your snapshot destination is showing clearly. So that's your snapshot. Okay, so we'll see how we can use it for recovery later on. That's another option you have. Now the next thing, we also know that there's data backups. What are the data backups we have discussed earlier, like complete, incremental, differential. All these data backups can be scheduled. So we have that option is also available. And one option already is shown you, if you remember, when I explained you the DBA cockpit, when I shown you how to perform backup by using DBA cockpit. There itself you have that recurrence facility. You can just specify the recurrence intervals there. It's pretty easy. You can schedule the backups there. So that's one of the option you have. I've shown you that earlier if you remember. So go to the transaction. So here you can select your database. Then go to jobs. Here we have DBA planning calendar. Double click on that. So whenever you want to start scheduling, you just go to that particular day, the time, just double click there. Choose the type of action, that is the backup you want to perform. Complete, incremental, differential options are there. Choose. And then you specify the destination, prefix and all that, and recurrence. There are many options they are given. Every 2 days you can do, number of hours you can specify. Every 10 hours, every 2 weeks, every 1 week, whatever you need. So every 1 week, on Saturday or on Friday. Start time, this planned start you can give like that. And you can just click on add. That's it, your scheduling is done. And this is one option. You also know that there is HANA Cockpit. You can also use HANA Cockpit. In fact, from SPS 12 onwards, they're given scheduling facility. Even though SPS 10 itself, they're given a backup option, but scheduling is provided only from SPS 12. It depends whether you're using Cockpit 1.0, 2.0. I've shown you the differences clearly. I've shown you how to work with Cockpit 2.0 also. So what we have to do is before scheduling the backups using HANA Cockpit, some small configuration settings we need to do. What we have to do is you need to enable something called Access Job Scheduler. So that should be done in the database only, the respective database. So example, if you go to this database, this is the path you need to use. Actually, I have a small issue there in that particular database. I will show you from this. So when you want to do this, actually some additional role is also needed. Because even default administrator doesn't have the privileges. So here go to this path, host name colon port number. Port number is always 80, then instance number. That's called HTTP port. /SAP/HANA/access/admin. Go to this path. Here we have a button, Access Administration Tools. Click on that. Select Access Job Dashboard. On the right top corner here we have scheduler enabled. It should show you S. So then only the scheduling is possible, that backup jobs scheduling is possible using HANA Cockpit for a particular database. Default this value is no. You just need to, so like this it will be. Change it to S. Clicking on that. That's it. That's a small configuration you need to do. Once that is done, you're also making sure that the user we are going to use for scheduling the backups is also having this role. That is, whoever is doing that configuration should have that job administrator role granted. Otherwise, you won't be able to perform that configuration. That's a very important thing. Remember. And one more thing, if you are working with SPS 12, those kind of versions, there will be a backup role for scheduling that also you need to grant. 2.0, it's not needed. So now directly go to HANA Cockpit. You know how to work with HANA Cockpit 2.0. If it's in case it's 1.0 HANA Cockpit, directly you just, you know what to do. Just right click on the database. You have open HANA Cockpit option, but that's not the case when it comes to 2.0. So Cockpit 2.0, it's like this. So log into the cockpit. Select your database. In the list of resources, so I'm selecting it here. But you know, you need to provide your database user details. If already provided, it's okay. You can use. Come down. So here we have manage database backups. So we know how to perform backups, but here we want to do scheduling. So there is a scheduling facility. Create schedule. So click on create schedule. So usual things, normal. Select the backup type, destination, backup prefix, comments you can write, and it's just like a job. So you need to give schedule name when you want to start, date and time. But just remember, this date and time you are giving is in UTC time zone. So be careful there. Suppose here we have IST time zone and UTC time zone. There is a difference of 5.5 hours that you need to consider always. and then recurrence. So every week, same day you want to have, you can just specify when you want to have, what time you want to have, those details you can give, and you can save it. That's it, your scheduling is done. And you want to look at those schedules, you can just click on go to schedules, and you can see what are the jobs we scheduled, those are active. In the right up corner, making sure that your backup schedules are on. That's it. That's the procedure what we need to follow. So these are the two options given to you, and mostly you'll be relying on this. There's one more option, but generally we don't recommend that much. But still, there is an option. There is something called backup script provided by SAP. If some customers are interested in using that backup script, they can use it. So in case if they're interested in using backup script, what you need to do is you need to go to at note number 1651055. So if you go to that note number, in that note you have two attachments. One zip file will be given to you, and one PDF file. So both of them you download. So that zip file is having that shell script, and PDF file they explain how we can use that shell script for scheduling the backups. So they'll look something like this. And you can take help of your system administrator because you need to schedule it by using cron tab. So you can take help of your system administrator. This is your zip file. If you open it, you have shell script there. And this is the PDF file. Script control backups in SAP HANA database. So use the documentation. If you want, you can use that shell script and schedule it by using cron tab. That's also an option there. So these are the different backup facilities, backup options provided by SAP. Okay, so it's all about backups. Now let us get into this recovery part. Ultimately, we'll be using these backups for some specific purpose. The main thing is recovery. So when do you do recoveries and what kind of recovery procedures available? All that will decide. I mean, first we'll discuss on that, and then we'll go for practically how to do the recoveries. A lot of examples we are going to do on this also practically. And before that, one more point before going for that recovery. And as we mentioned in the first session of the backup itself, that if needed, you need to take backup of configuration files, because sometimes what you do, you take a call, you do some changes for the configuration parameters, and after the recovery, you want to retain those parameters, those settings as it is. So that if you want to do it, just like a normal manual process, copy paste concept. But you should know where we have those configuration files, INI files. So this is simple path already given in this document. You can refer to that. The .ini files are located in the following directories, these two directories. What are the ini files we have? Keep a copy of them. Copy them and keep it some outside locations. Tomorrow, once after recovery is completed, you can just copy them back to these same locations here so that those parameter changes will be reflected in your database. Any configuration parameter change. So that way you don't need to repeat those configuration settings. Okay, so that's also another thing remember. Let us see what are the recovery options we have. So first of all, what's the need of recovering the HANA database? So you may have to perform the recovery in the following situations. The disk crash of your data area or disk crash of log area, or maybe you want to reset the database to a certain point in time in the past for any special recovery purpose. Or maybe you want to copy the database, create a copy of the database. Call it as DB copy, DB refresh, DB clone, whatever it is. Now, let us see what are the procedures available, recovery procedures available. So there are three recovery procedures available, as you can see here. Recover to a status before failure. That's what we call it as most recent state. Most recent state recovery. Suppose now your database crashed at this point, now itself. So till this point of time you want to do the recovery. Most recent state, what we call it as. Second one is point in time recovery. You specify the date and time, the past. So you want to recover database till yesterday afternoon 12 o'clock, like that. So you can specify date and time. Till that also you can do recovery. And third one is recover the database to a specific data backup, that is complete data backup, or storage snapshot. Third option, we can also mention storage snapshot. So a very important point here is recovery is offline admin activity. Recovery is purely offline admin activity. So obviously offline admin activity means you need to use SID ADM user. So let us see that here. Let us see what are those options you'll get. So just right clicking on the database, go to backup and recovery. There is an option recover system. So if you did not mention that SID ADM, it will ask for SID ADM. Just now I given SID ADM user ID and password. I think earlier I saved it. That's why it's not asking. Otherwise, it'll ask you to specify the SID ADM user and password. So it's saying system must be offline before recovery can start. The system will shut down now. Okay. So now the system will shut down. Right bottom we can see that information. And after system is shut down, it will start prepare the recovery visa. So now it's preparing the recovery wizard. So recovery wizard is prepared and look at those options. Those options only we mentioned just now. Recover the database to most recent state. Second one, recover the database to the following point in time. You specify the date and time. And third one is recover the database to a specific data backup or storage snapshot. Either of these. Because you can use storage snapshot as an alternative for your complete data backup. That's why it's giving that option to you. The only other way you can do recovery is not only using Studio, you can also do it by using Cockpit 2.0. Provided you are working with HANA Cockpit 2.0 and database version also 2.0 and above. Database version also must be 2.0 and above. Then recovery can be performed. But there in Cockpit 2.0, we have only two options. Only the first two options are available. Most recent state, point in time, that's it. So means the recovery functionality is not fully available in Cockpit 2.0. Yeah, coming versions will do it. So it all depends on what are the backups you have. You know the backup history already we discussed about this. You have, if you can so look at this diagram, it will show you everything about your backups. You have a full data backup, you have some incremental backups, you have differential, you have log backups, the black color ones. And after the last log backup, recent transactions are available in the log area here. So ultimately, these backups only will be used for your recovery purpose. Okay, so we'll see all those three examples. And apart from that, there is also a facility, as I told you, we can do something called a DB copy. DB copy or a DB clone, entire database we can clone. The database clone also one example we'll see. You can do it by using backup, complete data backup, or you can also do it by using storage snapshot. Both options are available. So those examples we'll look into. Practically we'll see. Um, that will take 2 days easily. That itself, and look at this option, recover the database. So as I was telling you, 2.0 is having that. And same if you have 1.0 database and go to the cockpit there, you don't find this option. There's nothing like recovery there. Okay. Okay. So those examples we'll see in the next class. We'll take it up on Monday.